Ever get that feeling, when you're watching a movie and a scene just totally grabs you?
Oh, absolutely, like that heart-pounding T-Rex chase in Jurassic Park.
Yes, exactly. Or those beautifully awkward first date scenes that every rom-com seems to have down to a science.
We tend to credit the actors, the director, for those moments.
Right, totally.
Yeah,
But what about the folks working behind the scenes, the ones who take those ideas and actually make them visual?
that's where our deep dive today comes in. We're talking storyboard artists, the unsung heroes who translate movie magic from the script to the screen.
I am so here for this. We've got the career guide, storyboard artist right here, ready to spill all the secrets, so give it to me straight.
What's a storyboard artist's world actually like?
Well, let me tell you, it's way more than just stick figures and thought bubbles. Think of it like this.
Okay, I'm listening. They're visual translators. They bridge this gap between what the screenwriter imagined, with all those words on a page, and what you actually see happening on screen.
So they've got to have some serious influence then, right? I mean, shaping how the story actually looks.
Oh, absolutely. They're working directly with the director, the producers, sometimes even the actors themselves. Got to make sure everyone's on the same page visually before the cameras even start rolling.
Whoa, whoa, hold up. Actors too. I never thought about it like that.
Think about those crazy, intricate fight scenes, like in John Wick.
Oh, right, right. With all those like perfectly timed moves.
It's often a storyboard artist who helps design that choreography,
Mm-hmm.
but on paper first,
Mm.
gives Keanu Reeves and the stunt team a blueprint to work from.
Okay, that makes so much more sense now. So not just artists, they're practically fight choreographers too.
Kinda, yeah. And it goes beyond action, too. Think those breathtaking landscapes in, like, Lord of the Rings, that epic scope. That was a storyboard artist working alongside Peter Jackson, bringing Middle-earth to life.
Wow, I never realized how much detail goes into all of this. So we've established they're visual geniuses for sure. But what about the actual tools of the trade? Is it all just like fancy pencils and big sketchbooks?
That's where things get really interesting, actually. Drawing skills are a must, obviously, but it's not just pen and paper these days. Got to be tech-savvy, too. Our career guide actually specifically calls out software like Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. It's industry standard now.
Toon Boom Storyboard Pro sounds pretty serious.
Think digital tools. Like they can create these dynamic moving visuals, experiment with different camera angles, almost like making a virtual mock-up of the entire film.
Oh, wow. So it's like a rough draft of the movie, but visually inside this software.
Exactly. And this isn't just for those CGI-heavy blockbusters. Even in a simple dialogue scene, like in, say, Lady Bird, they'd storyboard to figure out the best camera placement, where the actor should stand, all of it.
Man, this is blowing my mind. So it's more than pretty pictures. They're thinking about the whole visual language of the movie.
100%. It's about efficiency too, right? Making
Mhm.
sure the director, the camera operator, everyone's on the same page before they start filming and the big bucks start getting spent.
Okay, that makes total sense. Got to have those blueprints, just like when you're building a skyscraper. So you need artistic talent, you need the tech skills. But how does someone actually break into this field? Is it as tough as everyone says?
It's no walk in the park, that's for sure. But our trusty career guide actually lays out a pretty good path for aspiring artists.
Yeah, because everyone's got to start somewhere, right? Even Picasso had to learn the basics. So where does a budding storyboard artist usually begin?
Well, like most creative fields, experience is key, right? You got to pay your dues.
Okay, so starting out small, what, like internships, assistant gigs?
Exactly. Think of it almost like an apprenticeship.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I gotta imagine those early gigs, they're probably not always super glamorous.
Probably not going to be rolling in awards right off the bat. But even just being that fly on the wall,
Hmm.
observing the workflow, soaking up knowledge, you'd be surprised what you pick up.
Making those connections, learning the ropes. But what about when you're ready to take that next step? To go from assistant to actually creating your own storyboards. What does that look like?
That's when that portfolio you've been building becomes your best friend. It's not just about having the skills, it's about showing you can translate a script, words on a page, into those really compelling visuals.
Right, so it's almost like a visual resume for this kind of work.
Exactly. So you've put in the work, honed your craft, got that killer portfolio, and bam, you land that first gig as like a junior storyboard artist.
Okay, so let's say I'm that junior artist. What's my day-to-day actually look like?
Well, according to the career guide, you'll have way more independence at that point, but still working hand in hand with the director, obviously.
Yeah, got to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Imagine, though, you get handed a scene from the next big Marvel movie. and it's on you to figure out how it's going to look on screen.
Oh man, the pressure would be unreal. I'd be terrified of messing up Iron Man's suit or something.
That's where that deep understanding of character design, visual continuity, all of that really comes into play.
Yeah.
Because you're not just drawing a cool picture, you're essentially establishing the visual rules for this whole world.
So even if you're storyboarding Thor fighting a giant space monster, it still has to feel like it belongs in that Marvel universe, visually speaking.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you move up that ladder. Mid-level storyboard artist, then senior. Each step means more responsibility, but also more creative freedom.
So it's not like you're stuck on one path forever. There's room to experiment, work on different kinds of projects.
Oh, for sure. You could go from storyboarding a gritty crime thriller to like a lighthearted animated film. Totally different vibes, but it's all visual storytelling at the end of the day.
That's really cool. So there's all this potential for growth within the role itself.
And here's something that I found super interesting in the career guide. They said that some storyboard artists actually leverage their experience to become directors or producers themselves.
Whoa, really? So they love being part of the collaborative filmmaking process so much, they eventually want to lead the charge themselves.
Exactly. It happens more than you'd think. And the career guide even talked about how many experienced storyboard artists find a lot of fulfillment in mentoring newcomers. They can share their knowledge, help shape the next generation of visual storytellers.
That's awesome. It's like this whole pay it forward mentality, which is so cool. But I gotta say, being a creative person isn't always easy, right? We've kind of glossed over the long hours, the pressure, the tight deadlines. What does the career guide say about how storyboard artists deal with all that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Being a storyboard artist, it's got to be rewarding, but it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening who's hooked on this career path now, what's the career guide say about actually breaking into the industry? What are the big takeaways for standing out?
Well, we've touched on a few key things already. That portfolio, it's non-negotiable.
Right. You got to have that visual resume ready to go.
And it's more than just showcasing your technical skills, You got to show them you understand visual storytelling. So not enough to just draw a super realistic looking alien creature. You got to show how that alien moves through the scene, how it interacts with the environment, how it all fits within the story.
You got it. And there was something the career guide really emphasized that I thought was interesting. They're big on developing your own style.
Okay, so they don't want cookie cutter storyboards. They want to see something unique.
Exactly. It's about finding your voice, but visually, right? Your own way of interpreting a story and bringing it to life on the page.
So it's like being an author, but with visuals instead of words.
Exactly. And while you're honing that unique style, building up your portfolio, networking is huge too.
Makes sense. Got to get your work out there, make those connections.
They actually specifically mention attending industry events, maybe even joining organizations like the Writers Guild of America. Good way to meet other artists, learn from their experiences.
Yeah, find your people, your creative tribe. But that part can be intimidating, Putting yourself out there, especially in such a competitive industry. Any advice from the career guide on that?
They touched on that, actually. They said even just connecting with other artists online, following their work, can be a great start.
Oh, yeah, especially these days with social media and everything.
It's all about building those relationships because you never know where they might lead.
Totally agree. So, big picture takeaway then. It's not just about being crazy talented. It's about being part of that creative community.
100%.
Yeah.
And here's a golden nugget from the career guide that I think applies to any career, not just storyboarding. It's not just about being a good artist. It's about being a good collaborator.
Truth. Filmmaking is such a team effort, so being able to work well with others is crucial.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been awesome. I feel like we've peeled back the curtain on a whole world I knew very little about.
And you know what? The next time we're watching a movie or a TV show, we're going to see it with totally new eyes.
Totally. Paying attention to the way a scene is shot, the pacing, the overall flow, we'll know there was a storyboard artist involved, shaping those visuals every step of the way. So to everyone listening, the next time you're captivated by a movie scene, take a minute to imagine the storyboard that helped make it happen. And who knows, maybe this deep dive has inspired you to explore your own visual storytelling journey. The possibilities are endless.